Welcome, morons, lovers of morons, tolerators of morons, and fellow morons. It's episode 29, even though I get all nostalgic at the end as if it were a milestone 30th episode. Not that 30 episodes is a milestone, but maybe I had one too many root beers last night when I recorded this, or because this is another solo episode, but I seem to get a little introspective at the end, so be prepared for some bullshit. We talk about Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire sex trafficker, to the rich and famous, or maybe just the rich. I have a big homework assignment to watch The Great Hack on Netflix and to get your own password manager online. Do it! Seriously. There are more protests in Hong Kong. Apple is coming out with a new phone that has even more cameras. And I stumble across a story about vaginal steaming, and I'm just baffled. I guess vaginas baffle me and everything that's attached to them.
Male chauvinist pig.
It's a moron catch-all on the Modern Moron, and thank you for listening.
Item number 1.
Okay, here goes nothing. So, scrolling down the news, the first thing is f***ing Jeffrey Epstein. How about that? He is on suicide watch in jail awaiting trial because he had, I guess, possibly fingerprints and finger marks around his neck. So we're supposed to believe he was trying to choke himself. So he's dead. He committed suicide, air quotes. He was a marked man, and way too many important people were going to come down because of what this guy knew.
I know that.
And so he was killed. Oh, by the way, you know about the scandal with this guy and his underage girls and trafficking. He had an island that was referred to as Orgy Island, and his private jet plane was known as the Lolita Express, which Donald Trump has been on. And I heard somewhere, like, not that this would be a surprise, Bill Clinton originally said he was on it 4 times, but it turned out to be like 24 times. I forgot to put that 2 in there. So, yeah, that's no surprise, right? Come on, people.
I did have sexual relations with that woman.
So, Jeffrey Epstein's suicide is probably not a suicide.
Item number 2.
What else do we got? Hong Kong police fire tear gas at protesters. You know, one thing I would say about this is I talked to a gentleman that I know that visits China from time to time, and Hong Kong specifically. I said, what's going on with all the protesting over there? You have family over there. What's happening? And he said it's similar to the type of protests you would see in Los Angeles or at the state capital or the country's capital. You know, it happens in a very specific place, and the cameras are all pointed there, and those cameras represent networks that want to get eyeballs, so they make it seem like it's going on everywhere. He said everybody else is going about their business while some people protest, which is not to say that the protest isn't valid or some great things may come from it, but news is trying to get eyeballs. And the more fear they can instill in you, whether it's spinning it from the left or the right, the more they're going to do that.
Item number 3.
Apple's next iPad Pro could come with a rear triple camera array. I don't know if you read about this, but with Mac rumors, they're going to have 3 cameras. Is this going to be like a razor blades? You know, it's 3 blades, 4 blades, 5 blades, 7 blades. Is the back of your camera just going to look like a housefly's eyeball and just be covered with cameras?
Item number 4.
Kid Rock is being super gross about Taylor Swift on Twitter. Let's find out about this. This is good. I really have my sarcasm meter turned up to a 10. Today, in feuds you never thought were going to happen, it looks like Kid Rock would like everyone to know that he doesn't like Taylor Swift. And also that he has some very sexist ideas. Never would have thought that about Kid Rock.
He's just like
Well,
you.
he decided to tweet about it yesterday and inferred that she would do sexual favors in order to get cast in movies. Okay. Well, you know, Kid Rock is operating from very high intelligence. The tweet reads, Taylor Swift wants to be a Democrat because she wants to be in movies, period. And it looks like she will suck the doorknob off Hollywood to get there. Oldest move in the book. Good luck, girl. All right. Thank you, Kid Rock.
Item number 5.
You know, I have and I've said this once already, I have a homework assignment for you. And it is to watch a documentary on Netflix. The documentary that I want you to watch is The Great Hack. Okay, it's on Netflix, and it surrounds a young lady named Brittany Kaiser. She worked for Cambridge Analytica, which I'm sure you've heard of by now. It was the big data scraper that won Trump the election, or had a very significant hand in doing so. You've got to watch this, and I think people are avoiding it because either they know it's bad news, it's sad, I know, I just don't want to. They're avoiding it, or I'm also hearing this. It's my goal to be off of Facebook by the end of the year, which I just got on Facebook. But I don't think that's going to do it. That's sort of akin to burying your head in the sand. Big data is here. Your information is already out there, and it's just going to take more work, a little more work on your part to either spread it out all over different places instead of all in one place where it can be so easily gathered. From watching this documentary and what little I've done with social media and what little knowledge I have in the IT area, one thing you can do for yourself is every time you go to an app or every site wants you to fill out a profile. Of course they do, because they want to start collecting data on you, because that data is valuable. Data has surpassed crude oil as the most valuable commodity on Earth. And that is in the documentary, and it's here to stay. So the best thing you can do is to get yourself a password keeper. It's not that hard. In fact, I can do a video on it, and I will do a video on it and put it on YouTube because YouTube actually has the Modern Moron podcast channel on YouTube. And I'll post a video of how to do it. I would advise, it's a product called LastPass. And you get yourself one password, a good password that you can remember, that's got, words and numbers, old addresses that you will remember with names of pets, names of streets. Combine them and switch them up and get one good password and have that be the password to your vault in LastPass. That's the one I'm recommending. And then let LastPass not only track them, but generate crazy long random passwords for your profiles. What does that do? Not only does it protect you, but every time they being mainly the top three, Amazon, Google, and Facebook, is that you go to a site and it says, hey, look how easy it is to sign on. Just do it with Facebook. Well, now Facebook is gathering all the information about the game you play or the new app you've gone to, accumulating more and more data on you. And you don't want to do that. Stop signing in with Google. Stop signing in to things with Facebook. Stop signing in to things with anything. Do it yourself. It'll take you an extra couple of seconds. And if you use a password keeper, you'll be in charge of it. I couldn't recommend that any more strongly. That's part of, I guess, that's your other homework assignment. So this documentary, The Great Hack, again, it involves this young lady named Brittany Kaiser. By young, I mean she's in her early 30s to possibly mid-30s. Very young. She was an executive for Cambridge Analytica, which got its hands on a shitload of data. And the data they got it from Facebook. I don't know if Facebook knew it or not, but it's pretty shady in the end. So she was the director of business development for Cambridge Analytica. And one of the many crazy revelations in this story is that she initially worked in the Obama campaign, specifically on the campaign's Facebook presence. And if you think back to that time, Obama was just super successful on his Facebook page. And it was so, oh, look, I'm following the president-elect, or this up-and-coming candidate, and I'm following on Facebook. And he was so successful on that. And this girl, Brittany Kaiser, played no small part in that. It was a huge success and a first for a presidential election. So she intended to continue to work for the Clinton campaign, but they wouldn't pay her. I'm not sure why. They didn't really get into that in the documentary. Maybe they wanted her to continue as an intern. But that's when this evil guy from Cambridge Analytica stepped in. I'll get his name for you in a little bit. And he literally said to her, he was a guy from Great Britain, said, let me get you drunk and steal all your secrets. And he was kind of charming, and she kind of went, okay.
Hello, my name is Alexander Nix. I'm CEO of Cambridge Analytica, the world's leading data-driven communications company. From madmen of old to mathmen of today, expert data scientists whose insight can tell you far more about audiences that you want to reach and how to reach them.
So that's sort of the Dr. Evil of Cambridge Analytica.
Why make trillions when we could make billions?
$1 trillion is more than $1 billion, numbnuts.
And how he wooed Brittany Kaiser to come work for Cambridge Analytica. Her net worth, I looked it up. It's not anything crazy. It's short of $1 million, which is not bad for a young lady her age. But she was with some high rollers as well. And she was very successful for her client, which was the Trump campaign. And not only the Trump campaign, but the Brexit campaign as well. Throw that in there for you if you did not know that. I could go on and on about this documentary, but please watch it. There's many, many compelling pieces of information that are revealed throughout. Don't avoid it just because you think it's bad news, because it's here to stay and we got to deal with it. We got to figure out how to deal with it. So, The Great Hack on Netflix. Please watch.
Item number 6.
So, a couple of other things I saw in the news, and I'd really rather have someone to talk to about it. But here's the first story, and I'm just going to read you the headline, and it's like, this is from BBC News. Warnings after woman is burned by vagina steaming. That's right, folks. Vagina steaming. Is this new just to me? A case study involving a 62-year-old was published in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Canada. The woman had been suffering from a prolapsed vagina. Okay, we need to look that up. And believed that the treatment could help avoid surgery. Vaginal steaming, which involves sitting over a hot water and herb mix, has seen a growth in popularity. It and other treatments for intimate areas include vulva facials are now, isn't that an oxymoron? How is a vulva facial a facial? Unless those lips are on your face. Vulva facials are now available at some salons and spas, and also, says here, Pep Boys. The LA Times first reported on the steaming trend in 2010, a long time ago, and it later gained widespread attention when Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop brand recommended it. So Gwyneth Paltrow is glopping her goop on her vagina, and that's how it caught popularity. Last year, U.S. model Chrissy Teigen also shared a photograph of herself undergoing the treatment. And it's just a wonderful photo of her, just like she's sitting on the toilet, but she's got a facial thing on her face, and she's squatting over something. Who is Chrissy Teigen? I think she's a model. Unless she's modeling her vagina, who cares? You know what? Even if she is modeling her own vagina, who cares? Let's just look up. I know I'm a moron, but come on. What the fuck is a prolapsed vagina? Okay, vaginal prolapse. That's from eMedicine Health. Let's do with WebMD. Heard of it. This says pelvic organ prolapse. And what is a pelvic organ prolapse? Your pelvis is the lower part of your belly, below your navel and between your hips. There are a lot of organs in this tight space. Your bladder, cervix, intestines, rectum, urethra, uterus, and your vagina. Sometimes the muscles and other kinds of tissue that hold everything in place get stretched out, weak, or torn. When that happens, some of your body parts can drop down below where they're supposed to be. Some of your body tissue can stick out of your vagina. This is called prolapse. I'm terrified to click on Google Images. It can affect all the organs in your pelvis. So, are you telling me your bladder can just come shooting out your vagina? Not shooting out, but it can just whoa, gotta tuck that thing back up. Wow. You know what? Let's go for it. Let's click on images. Prolapsed vagina. Okay, it's all diagrams. All right. I don't see any. Ooh. No. Oh, gee whiz. That's, wow. That's disgusting, folks. Oh, what is that? Okay, so now we know what a prolapsed vagina is. Stuff is falling out. Can't you do Kegels or something like that to fix it? Okay. All right.
Item number 7.
This led me to look up a few things. which is top plastic surgeries, top 10 most popular cosmetic surgeries. And the news source here is CBS News. A breast lift. This is 2 of 12, so I guess it's working towards the top. A breast lift. This is not a reduction, but it just incisions around the breast and areola to remove excess skin and shift the nipple and areola to a higher position, presumably the shoulders. The next is cosmetic eyelid surgery, a.k.a. blepharoplasty. Too bad the senator's not here. This is great. The next one is called tummy tuck, a.k.a. abdominoplasty. And the photograph is of a woman's abdomen, and they've made, with a Sharpie or something, dashes and arrows about where they're going to do the incisions and do this tummy tuck. But the woman, the body that it's drawn on, does not need a tummy tuck. She's in great shape. It's like, you're being sold crap again. People are just selling crap. The number two surgery is breast augmentation. And the number 1 surgical procedure is liposuction, which is both men and women get that done. And there you go. Also, non-surgical procedures. Number 5 is IPL laser treatment. Can remove skin pigmentation problems such as birthmarks or age spots. I need to have my whole body done. Microdermabrasion removes, and when I first read this, I said, microdermabrasion removes cow's feet. And I thought, what the fuck is cow's feet? Oh my God. But I didn't see the R, it's crow's feet. I'm an idiot. Okay, laser hair removal. And again, the image of the woman in there is young and not a hair on her. Oh, she's just perfect. And that's what you're going to look like when you get the hairs removed. Hyaluronic acid and Botox. Fantastic. This was a great segment, wasn't it, folks? A lot of fun. Okay, folks. This, how ironic that I'm flying solo on this, our 30th episode, which I believe on this episode, we should clear the 1,000 download mark. So I want to thank you for that. All 4 or 5 of us have gotten together and downloaded it 1,000 times. It took 30 episodes to get there. And relative to a successful podcast, which I've stated numerous times, if you're expecting your podcast to be successful, you should have somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 downloads per episode over a 30-day period. Whereas I have 30 episodes up for 7-8 months, and we have 1,000 downloads. So, what is success, right? How much longer is this thing going to go? I don't know. It's a lot of work. Sometimes it flows easy, and sometimes it does not flow easy. It's difficult. It seems like all the podcasts I see are celebrities, or you've got a celebrity. Just recently, it's been announced that Will Ferrell's character, Ron Burgundy, a new season is coming out of the Ron Burgundy podcast. So it's always nice to have some good competition because I need it. I need competition. And I'm bitter and angry about that. It's like, really, Ron Burgundy? Will Ferrell? I love the guy. He's funny as hell. Great. You have to have a podcast too. Can't some of us lamos just have some? Maybe I should just go get a shortwave radio and try to broadcast to South Africa. All right. So we may be taking a hiatus here soon. It's getting tough to get guests. It's not easy for you guys. It's a pain in the neck to schedule and get online and do all this. And I do appreciate all the people that have been on this podcast for these 30 episodes. Even the senator. Is there anything else I want to run by you before we... Steaming vaginas, plastic surgery. So your homework assignment is to watch The Great Hack on Netflix. please do watch it. Don't put it off. Don't pretend like it'll go away. We're going to have to put a little more effort into what we're watching. And are we being sold a bill of goods? On a personal, do you have a special personal program designed just for you to get you to think the way other people want you to think? That's something to think about. Think it over. I may have one more episode because I did interview a friend of mine who immigrated from Ukraine. He came over when he was 9 years old. And I spoke with him. We just met outside and talked, and I recorded it. So the recording quality isn't quite as good as what I've normally been able to get, but it's still good. The Ukraine, if you don't know, is bordered by Moldova, Romania, Poland, Belarus, and its main border is Russia. It was interesting that he came over when he was 9 years old in the 90s, and yet he tried to liken it to, he said, I probably have more in common with baby boomers because of the way life was in Ukraine. In that, for example, he had a black and white TV, and there were 3 channels that you turned with a dial, and that was in the 90s. He would go out in the morning during the summer or on weekends. He'd leave the house at 9 in the morning, wouldn't come home till 10 at night, and mom and dad were like, you just didn't, that's what you did. And that's what they did, our parents did back in the 60s and 50s with us. So I did have kind of a interesting conversation with him about growing up in Ukraine versus growing up in the United States, and then coming over here and having an appreciation or different perspective of our culture. He also works in IT. We have a chat about the data thing as well, and how Russia is involved in Facebook advertising and so forth, because it's not only the right trying to influence its people and the left trying to influence its people. We also have, Russia and China trying to influence us. And the more upheaval that can be caused amongst us in this country, the better Russia likes it. They're not our friend. So we really need to take note of what we're watching and try and find out where it's coming from. If it's an ad or a blog or something you see on Facebook, don't buy into it. You really need to take your news sources seriously. And it takes more effort to think for yourself instead of having something handed to you. Here's what you like. Based on all these other past likes, you're going to like this. We really need to take our own minds back. All right, that's enough. I'm going to try to get to that for next week. I am going to post this early because I'm going to be out of town with my daughter. We're going to be in Santa Cruz. And I always forget to do this, but the Modern Moron podcast has a page on Facebook. We have a Twitter account. You can follow us at the Modern Moron. We're on all the places you could get a podcast, though. I don't know if I told you recently, we're on iHeartRadio even, the Modern Moron podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and now iHeartRadio. So any place you can get a podcast, you can get us. And next week, I'll bring you that interview that I had with my friend from Ukraine. Have yourself a great week. If you're listening to this on the weekend, have a great weekend. And thank you for listening to The Modern Moron.